I really couldn't even think about missing this event. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, especially all the influential women in this room today, and we have noticed it with the power outage. First and foremost, I would like to thank the Atia and its board for the special invitation to be a keynote speaker at this prestigious event, and especially to speak of a topic that is close to my heart. Today we celebrate you, a group of great women leaders and innovators committed to driving change on our island. We are living in interesting times. I'm sure my mom, as well as your mothers, will be very proud, because in their time, women were not allowed to do what we can do. Some of them could not even think about doing what we can do. And what they did they do it back then? Did they settle? Did they give up? No. They innovated. What they did was change the way they raised us. They did not raise us the way they were raised. That is innovation too. I think we have to thank all of them, our parents, but also the gentlemen in our lives, for permitting us to do all the wonderful things we do. Of course, it is an honor for me to be here as Prime Minister of Aruba. But before becoming Prime Minister, I was a mom, still a mom, a wife, a daughter, proud grandma. I'm a mother of 3 children, 2 of 22 years old, and the youngest one of 17, and my grandchild is 1 year old, my grandson, Tristan. I apply a lot of what I do at home also in work, and that is something that I'm sure most of you also do. And it's really challenging sometimes, but the most important asset that I think that we as women can bring to the workforce is the fact that we always try to create bridges, build bridges, to unify. And that is what we have tried to do in also forming a coalition in Aruba, which is the first time in 20 years that Aruba has seen a coalition of several parties. And I can admit to you that before the formation period after the election, the party leaders that now consist are part of the government. We were not friends. We were not family. We did not even know each other. As we say in Papiamento, nos nota sali by trip. So we really did not have a relationship with each other. But we decided to look at what unified us, and that was the well-being of Aruba. And that is what has been the basement for this coalition. I say it again, I'm very, very honored to be the first female Prime Minister of Aruba. But I also know that it comes with a lot of responsibilities. Not only to be the Prime Minister of an island or country, but especially for being a female Prime Minister. It comes with the responsibility of being a role model. The role model as a minister, everybody looks at what you're doing, what you're saying, if you're walking the talk. Role model as a mother, role model in everything we do as women. But today I want to focus on women in politics and why I think it's so important to have female power in politics, which is one of the reasons I joined politics. I believe that female political participation usually results in tangible gains for democracy. It results in greater responsiveness to the citizen needs, and it increases the cooperation across party lines, ethnic lines, and more sustainable peace. Research indicates that whether a legislator is male or female has a distinct impact on their policy priorities. That's why it's critical that women are present in politics to represent the concerns of other women as well. There are more reasons, of course, why it's important to have a female presence in politics. And that is because of the female leadership and the conflict resolution styles. Women tend to work in more participatory and more collaborative way than males. Women also are more likely to work across party lines, even in high partisan environments. Women lawmakers are highly responsive to constituents' concerns and help secure lasting peace and to build bridges. Women's participation also encourages citizen confidence in democracy. One of the main items that you see if you do some research on female participation in politics is that women prioritize education and health and other key development indicators. The role of women in politics is undeniable. Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs as we call them, are goals set by the United Nations and they seek to change the course of the 21st century, addressing key challenges such as poverty, inequality, and violence. These SDGs, as we call them, aim to achieve, among others, gender equality and to empower all women and girls, to end all forms of discrimination and to eliminate all forms of violence. The government of Aruba is also adopting these Sustainable Development Goals and has made it a high priority on the agenda. And today I would like to invite all of you to start empowering girls. Education is the key to influence and empower them. If we create educated girls that are confident with a high self-esteem and with a determination, I'm sure that our country will be in good hands. What is being done in general to stimulate female participation in politics? Aruba is not the best example of all because of the small scale of our community. Politics is being driven at a different level. It becomes very personal sometimes. That is, of course, not a good example for young females to follow. However, it is something that we have to consider. Because if we keep on leaving everything up to the males, to the gentlemen, no offense, gentlemen, then we will not be seeing the changes that we all would like to see. There are some countries that have introduced a legal requirement, a benchmark of 30% female participation on a political list, the candidate list. We have not adopted those changes in Aruba. If you ask me, mainly because if I approach a lady, a woman, to join politics, which I've tried now for 2 consecutive campaigns, most of the ladies would say, you know, I don't have the time for it. My children are my priorities. Or they would say, I'd rather deal with my home, my family. Or they would say, I'm not interested in the personal attacks that you see in politics. So women are not staying away from politics because they do not have the chance. They stay away from politics because of conscious decisions. In other countries, where women want to join politics, but they don't have the chance because the gentleman would not give them the chance, I can think of some benchmarking of 30% or a legal requirement. Perhaps in those countries, it's a must. But in Aruba, I don't think that we should introduce such a quota, because still I think that there is a lot of space for female politicians. And if you ask me personally, if I would have to be entitled to get a job, a promotion, or a position on the candidate list, please give it to me because I earned it and not because I'm a woman. I think that is the main difference in the world. So ladies, there is a lot of possibilities still in politics. Most of you would think that is not something for me, but believe me, it is our responsibility to influence our daughters and our sons to see these changes in the future. The importance of gatherings as these ones, focused on women in leadership, have become more and more apparent in our community. This is also an important part in equaling the playing field. And this year's topic, Women in Innovation, cannot have come at a better time. A time when our island is facing many challenges, like many others in the region. Our future economy demands a new and fresh perspective. My apologies. Yes, thank you. Okay. Our future economy demands a new and fresh perspective in igniting growth and change. With globalization taking the front seat in economic activities and development worldwide, we must realize that there is no time to sit and wait for the change to happen or for opportunities to come to us. We can no longer depend on others to bring the jobs to us, and we can no longer rely on the import of innovation. Innovation has to start at home. And although we Arubians are known for our pioneering spirit, it is no secret that we have a lot of work to do to catch up on technological advancement and to implement the innovative solutions that our country needs. And this is why the starting point of a government is to invest in human-centered innovation. The human capital is the most important capital and the asset that we have on the island. And that's why we should have human-centered innovation. To give the people the skills, the tools, the resources they need to innovate, but to innovate from within and for the growth to come from within. And when it comes to women, especially the younger generation, we have more opportunities than ever before thanks to technology. Women leaders will play a pivotal role in this new economy catalyzed by innovation. And this does not come without adversity. As women, we face many challenges, not only in our personal life, but all too often in our professional careers too. Throughout history, we have been the subject of substantial stereotyping. Many strong women who came before us fought for equal rights and for inclusion, especially in fields like science, technology, engineering, and math. And this is something I want to discuss today with you. This is known as the STEM industry: science, technology, engineering, and math. And sadly, the gender gap in the STEM industry remains large and persistent among the years at all levels, including professional scientists, researchers, engineers, mathematicians, and also STEM teachers. And this is true not only for developing countries, but also for developed countries. And in Aruba, I believe that you will agree that we have much work to do to close the STEM gender gap. Advocacy and conferences like this one help women to push innovation through other boundaries and to break through the stereotypical mindset that persists in these industries. Awareness of how women could contribute to these industries remain low. Many women tend to stumble into a STEM field rather than explicitly choosing a career in the field of science, technology, engineering, or math. On the other hand, as modern societies, we do a poor job in celebrating women who did opt for a so-called non-traditional career path. What can we do? We have to get the success stories out there. Let us be inspired by women like Jessica Wade, a physicist who has personally taken upon herself to create more awareness of women in the STEM industries. She noted that particularly in the world of science, women are predominantly underrepresented. Over 82% of articles and biographies in the field of science are about men. So what did she do? She took it upon herself to bridge the underrepresentation gap of women in these industries. She personally wrote entries for over 300 women scientists from around the globe. By creating awareness through these entries, she hopes to make the impression that women are not active in these industries something of the past. And although the example of Jessica Wade helps in bringing awareness to women thriving in these industries, it does not solve the physical gap that still exists in this day and age in the world, and especially in a small island community like Aruba. There is a difference between awareness and action. It has to take real effort to bring women into the STEM field. And not only does it take effort, it requires training and investment in education programs. Our government and the private sector need to be accountable from top down. We need to set the example and have that example be visible by celebrating our women in innovation. We have to recognize our role models and give them the spotlight or create a spotlight for them. Seeing other women succeeding in STEM and innovation could inspire young women and girls by giving them real-world examples to model themselves after. I urge you, as women leaders, innovators, and change makers in our community, to come together and more proactively provide girls and young women with guidance, courses and activities, and to enhance their innovation capacity and confidence. Community support is the key. Based on a recent international study, only 36% of girls will pursue computer science of their own choice and without parental encouragement. But when they receive verbal encouragement from their parents Over 65% of middle school girls are likely to study computer science in high school. There is no comparative study yet for Aruba, but the evidence is all around us. So I ask all of you to make an effort to help our young women and girls understand how STEM subjects and innovation studies are relevant for their personal and professional pursuit. And why is this so important for our country? Small and medium enterprises are the backbone of our economy. Having an innovation mindset is also a prerequisite to starting a company or running a successful business nowadays. It is no secret that women in leadership is a good business and good from the bottom line. A recent study shows that female-founded startups outperformed their male counterparts in terms of revenue. The women-run companies returning on average 78 cents per dollar compared to 31 cents for the men. Need I do the math? Innovation is not just a buzzword today. Innovation is necessary for survival in the future. The children that nowadays are attending primary schools, most of them will be working in jobs that today not even exist. Are we preparing them enough for this? Industries are being disrupted, and the average company these days lasts about 1/3 of the lifespan of 50 years ago. The future will require us to be more resilient, having an innovation mindset, and being open to change. Change will be happening at a faster pace than ever before. And I'm asking myself, are we ready for it? This goes to show that not only do we have to do a better job in helping more women to start and run companies, we also have to ensure that they will be able to lead in an uncertain future. And I believe that the best way to prepare for a future of unknown complexity is to build on the strength of our differences. I also think that diversity and inclusion are a strategic imperative for innovation and will enable economic growth. As things stand today, women are heavily underrepresented in the field of STEM in Aruba. How do we begin to close the gender gap and inspire the next generation of female innovators? At a time when technology continues to rapidly transform the way we live and work, we should make a conscious effort to empower more women, and particularly young women, to take an active role in that transformation, to catch the wave, to take the risk, to be the change you want to see. And perhaps it is fate that today's conference is called Women in Innovation, Getting It Done. To get it done, in the spirit of today's theme, we are launching the STEM the Gap platform, a first of its kind awareness and education program dedicated to inspire future generation of female innovation leaders, while also bringing together local talent to develop solutions for all the challenges we face on our island through an innovation lens. As women leaders, it is our duty to inspire our young women and girls and to help advance women as leading voices in innovation. There are no quick fixes here. We have to accept that STEM literacy tomorrow is as important as basic literacy is today. Are we doing enough to stand the gap? If we are to be truly honest with ourselves, we haven't even begun to scratch the surface yet. So I encourage you to join the Stand the Gap Aruba movement. Each one of us has to understand how technology impacts our lives, our jobs, our companies, our industries, and ultimately to help our island innovate and change the world. Women in innovation, getting it done. This morning, in conclusion, I have spoken about the responsibilities being a role model brings with it. I talked about why it's important to have women in politics, why we need to empower our girls and how to do that, why we all need to innovate, because there is no time to sit and wait anymore. How innovation starts at home, how women leaders will play a pivotal role in this new economy catalyzed by innovation. I spoke about the need to focus on the STEM skills and to work together to stem the gap, because it's good for the economy, but especially because it's good for Aruba. I cannot leave without a personal note, because if we, female leaders, need to be the change that we need in Aruba, I want to leave you with one personal advice. First, think of yourself. Take time to dedicate to yourself. If we have to inspire our girls, our boys, the whole community, we need to take care of ourselves. The title of today's event is Women in Innovation, Getting It Done. So, in order for you to get it done, please be sure that you take care of yourself. And I cannot repeat this often enough. We, as women, mothers, grandmothers, always think of others before ourselves. Think of the children, think of the parents, think of the family, think of co-workers, of friends, neighbors, before thinking about ourselves. And the stewardesses and the stewards, they always remind us when we take a flight. They say, and I'm going to repeat it, but I don't know it by heart. If the cabin pressure drops, oxygen masks will appear automatically. If you're traveling with small children, please put on your mask first. If you do not have enough oxygen, you cannot help others. Remember that. I know we are strong, but we're human. So, getting it done. Find something that works for you. I can share with you what works for me. It doesn't necessarily have to work for you, but I'll share it anyway. For me, I try to reach a balance in my life between 4 areas important for me: family, work, spirituality, and service to the community. Those 4 areas are very important, and they need to be in balance. If one is out of balance, everything is out of balance. So family, for me, is very important. If at home things are not going well, it affects all other areas in my life. And even if I have a very high-level meeting to attend, if there's something wrong at home, I need to take care of that before I can attend the meeting. That is what brings the balance in my life. Of course, I try to limit it to the necessary, because otherwise that will bring a disbalance in the whole country. But I need to deal with it or have it dealt with in time, not postpone it. Because for me, family is very important. Work, of course, I don't need to say much about work. Try to have everything in place. Try to avoid conflicts. We are, by nature, as women, bridge builders. You can see a conflict coming from far, so try to deal with it before it gets too close. The third part is spirituality. I'm a Catholic myself. I don't want to impose that on anyone, but believe me, if you can find a balance on the spiritual part of your life, it will fill some gaps that still are empty. There are things in life that we are prepared to deal with. They're very strong. But there are things in life that can throw you totally off guard. For me, that was a moment that my younger brother, he was 3 years younger than I was, at 40 years of age, he passed away from cancer. That had a tremendous impact on everything I did. He was my right hand in the campaign. He was my only brother. And it was difficult to find a balance after his death. But thanks to the focus on the spirituality part in my life, it has brought the balance I needed to continue dealing with the other parts of my life. And the fourth, service to the community. And that is something that you can do in every way. I am a member of service organization. I see a lot of members here present. I am not very active lately, my apologies. But when I can, I join and try to do community service in other ways. I really hope that you will continue doing the great job you're doing as women leaders in Aruba. Let's unify, let's put all the efforts together and make this a real happy and nice island. Thank you so much.
Our Prime Minister wants to answer a few questions, so I'm going to try to do my best to be innovative by using Slido, just like we explained, together with the help of Lucy, to see some of the questions that some people in the audience have for our Prime Minister. Let's scroll a little bit. We have one question here that says the following. How has your experience of being a mother influenced your role of Prime Minister of Aruba? You can take the center stage if you want.
Thank you. I think that as a mother, I and all the mothers have experienced some very important things. First of all, there is a focus on others before yourself. And that is something very important to keep in mind also in government. That I'm not here because of me. I was not even elected because we do not have an election for Prime Minister. We worked in a campaign, we gained some seats in Parliament, and then it happened because of the circumstances. But the mere consciousness that is something that has, well, it's a great honor to be the Prime Minister of Aruba, but at the same time it comes with responsibilities. And I think that because of the fact that in the upbringing of my children, the focus was on them, of course. First the oxygen for me, but then of course everything for them. That also influences the way decisions are taken. First, the people of Aruba. First, especially children, women and children, disadvantaged women and children. That is something that is very important that I take from my experience of being a mother and trying to put that into practice in government. Of course, there are other skills that I have acquired as a mother that I apply almost on a daily basis. I have twins, Christine and Kevin. They're 22 now, but they were little once. And the one, Christine, was born 1 minute before Kevin. And sometimes the discussion would go, I want a piece of cake. No, I want it. No, I was born a minute before you. No, I'm taller than you are. And those kind of discussions you have as well in our working environment. I deserve this more than you deserve it. I need it more than you need it. Well, as I did back then, sometimes I do it now. I would punch my fist on the table and say, well, this is the way it's gonna be. So those are things that I take with me. But the most important thing as a mother is the way you love your children, the way you want not only progress, but the well-being of your children. That is something you want for all the children of Aruba and the youth. So that is one of the most important lessons.
Thank you very much. Question from Slido. It's a really interesting one, Prime Minister. It says the following. What I have heard many times during the elections referring to a possible female leader was, women make more emotional decisions than men. Do you think this is true?
I don't think we take emotional decisions. I think we take decisions rationally based on emotions. So emotional, sometimes if I say you took an emotional decision, it can seem that I'm telling you you did not think enough about it. You were too emotional about it. No. I think that women take rational decisions and then based on the emotions. You have taken into consideration the facts, the circumstances, the emotions, and then you take a rational decision. I think that women are very rational. More rational than men.
So you can also raise your hand if you didn't get a chance to type or anything like that. So raise your hand if anybody has a question. Yes, we have a mic for the lady in the center. There's a mic for you right there.
Good afternoon, or good morning, Ms. Prime Minister. My name is Rose Cadet. I am CEO of a company here in the island of Aruba, and I have a very personal or maybe national concern about the homeless puppies in the island of Aruba. I feel the island of Aruba depends on tourism, and therefore I had an experience where I was practically attacked by a tourist when I was trying to pick up 3 homeless dogs, one of them being injured. And my question to you is, have you ever considered of doing something about eliminating homeless dogs from the island of Aruba?
This is an issue, a problem that has been lingering for much too long. My sister, my only sister, is a veterinarian, so you can imagine her passion for this subject. She has developed a plan, has presented it to the Minister of Health, which is in charge with the stray dogs, to focus more on the campaign that was already in place by the Animal Shelter Foundation. There's this foundation.
Yes.
That takes care of the dogs and the sterilizing of the dogs. But this is something that needs to be done on a government level. So there are plans being developed at this moment to deal with the dogs on the street, but also with a discussion on the kill cage. And I think, if you ask me, it should start with the awareness at home. We have, and we see that when we're around the Wayaka establishment. There are families that come in, they look for a puppy. And there are others that come, they bring an older dog because the dog is old. And they would go next door and find another puppy. And that is not the way we should deal with the issue. We should treat them, they should also have a dignified life, if I can say so. But it has the attention of the government. It hasn't had the highest priority at this moment, but it has the attention.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to choose one more question from Slido, and then we're going to go to another question in the audience. I know if we have that question ready to put on screen, do we? No? Okay, so I'll just read it out for you. Dear Prime Minister, why do you believe that here in Aruba we talk about empowering women while in this person's own experience, it has never been the men that were an obstacle, but rather women. I think we all can relate a little bit to that.
Of course. That is why in gatherings like these, it's women talking to women. And I agree, if we want to empower women, we're not talking only about how men should treat us as women, but how we should treat ourselves and co-women. at the workforce, on the workforce. And that is why I said we need to start also with our girls, our daughters, and our sons, of course, but never to forget the way that we need to empower, encourage other women to succeed. And these kind of gatherings show that I think that a lot of people can relate to that issue. But it's indeed very important not to think that we are being inhibited in possibilities because of men. The example I gave when I approached a female to join politics, they never say, no, my husband doesn't want to. Or, it's not a male inhibition thing. Those are conscious decisions that women take on themselves. Not that is bad, but if I may, I want to repeat this. I took on the challenge. Of course, I put aside my personal life. I exposed my whole family to public life. My children do not see a lot of me. Those are the sacrifices you make, and I will not lie about it. Those are huge sacrifices. But I think that my daughters, my grandson, I hope to have granddaughters in the future, your daughters, your granddaughters, they deserve a chance as well. If we all keep to ourselves, we do not make the sacrifices, we leave the political field open only to male, then we are not giving the right example. So it's time for all of us to give in a little bit in order to make this a better world. Thank you.
Right here in front. Can we have a mic? Good morning. Go ahead.
Good morning, Prime Minister. Good morning. My name is Lucia Werberman. I'm working as a project leader, also in innovation and new projects to enable change. What was for you to share with us, what was your biggest challenge in recreating yourself and adapting in your new role to be the leader that you are now, and what are your outlook in the future for that?
Thank you for the question. You're one of the STEM examples, by the way. She works in the STEM industry. One of the biggest things I had to adapt before assuming this role was when I entered politics. I entered politics 9 years ago. Before politics, I was a lawyer, I was a tax lawyer, mom, and I kept everything to myself. It was very private. And the biggest adaptation was having everybody be a part of your life. Everybody wants to say something about what you're doing. Your business became everybody's business. 9 years ago, that was not on a large scale because it was just a starting phase. At this moment, I think that is the biggest change that I had to adapt to. It also goes from a family. From nature, I'm a very shy person. I'm very shy. So that is something I need to keep under control. I remember the first years people would come to me and say, you're arrogant. That is not good in politics. And I would say, I remember it was an Atia event. You remember? No. Okay, let me rephrase that. I remember people were saying this to me, but in an Atia event 5 years ago or 6 years ago, leading to the 2013 elections, we had an event with all the political leaders. And we had some questions on the economy, on finance, all the things that are important for government. And then Atia informed us that we will have a surprise question. And that surprise question, each political leader got another question. My question was, the comment was that I was being perceived to be arrogant. And what is my reaction to that? And I then said, I remember there was the table just in front of me. I see Kimberly here, your brother was sitting on the table at the table. And I said, well, it is not arrogance. it is that as women in politics, it's different. A colleague of mine that is not in politics anymore told me once, you know, your uncle Batico, he was a good one. He knew everybody's name, and that made him so charismatic. Well, as charismatic as him, I don't think we will see. But indeed, he was very charismatic. And indeed, he had talent to remember all the names. But this colleague of mine is that I cannot remember the names. But you know what I do? I would go to a lady, to a woman, embrace her and say, Tushi kontabayo, but in her ears. So I shared with the audience, it is very difficult for me as a woman to go to the gentleman and say, and this was Mike was sitting at the say, Tushi kontabayo. I think that I would have a problem not only with the gentleman, with his wife, with my husband. So it is not arrogance. It is another way of dealing with things. And then, you know, I thought, well, if that is the perception, well, I have to live with it and do something about it. But coming back to the question, it is the public life that is the most important change. In life, and I think that is something that for me and the upbringing of my children was very important. Always walk the straight line. You never know when one small mistake of the past will be catching up with you. And that is something that is very important. That has not been a big issue for me because I was raised that way. We were raised that everything you do today, even if nobody sees you, it will become a problem eventually. And that, fortunately, has not been a big challenge for me. But really, the public life versus the private life, that was the biggest adaptation that I had to make. I hope I answered your question because as a politician, you know, I do well
get to know you a little bit more up close and personal. It was very nice having you this morning with us, and allow me to invite also our director of Atia, Mrs. Wever-Croes, who has a small token of appreciation for you as well.
We are very, very happy that you accepted our invitation when we asked you to speak today. To us, it was a very logical choice to have you here on this stage, and we are very happy after hearing your speech that we did so. I know you have to leave travel today, so I want to say that every item within this basket is either locally made or locally sold by female entrepreneurs here on the island.